Welcome to the All of You podcast, where we believe healthy relationships are created by growing individually and pursuing a healthy relationship with yourself.
So let's take a deep breath. Settle in and grow together.
So last week we talked about how difficult this season has been and kind of like the struggles, being honest about some of the struggles. But I have a really cool thought that I had this morning when I was getting ready about how long it's been since I've had to wear a belt. Like, I only wear drawstring pants now.
Yeah.
And it is so nice. It's the biggest life hack.
The other night, I think Sage said to you, like, Daddy, why do you have a shoelace around your waist? And I think she was referring to your drawstring, but I started cracking up.
Yeah, because I was wearing sweatpants. I don't like just wearing like any kind of sweatpant. I don't like the feeling of feeling like a slob, but I have a lot of like nicer drawstring pants.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, like one of my sweatpants is like Viore. They're really nice. They look nice. I actually want more. Now I'm like getting even more. Like Brendan has some really nice ones that he could pull off with like a collared shirt. Like I haven't gone that far where like if I dress up, my pants are probably not drawstring. They're going to be a belt. But I might have to get on that level.
I'm sorry. Are you dead serious telling me you would wear a collared shirt with sweatpants?
Not sweatpants, drawstring pants, like a string, like pants with no belt loops.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Like I don't wear a belt. Belts are so uncomfortable. But I do like to wear a belt sometimes. It's not when I do dress up, like why not lean in and dress up? But it's been not, like right now I'm wearing like REI like comfy pants and it's the best. I almost feel like I'm wearing no pants at all.
Oh wow. I have a little, I don't want to say concerns because I want you to be you, but this trajectory of being a drawstring pant wearer, like is the man bun gonna come next? And
No.
like the beaded necklace?
No, I'm losing my hair. I'm going to shave my head.
No.
Yeah, I am in fact losing my hair. And I've been on this like thought of like I'm going to shave my head soon.
Oh, I know. You talk about it every day.
Yeah, and you don't want me to, but it's coming.
Well, here's the thing. It is coming. I'm not in denial about that at all. But once it's gone, you can't go back.
You can.
You're going to grow out your hair bald? You can't.
You can.
You literally can't grow out a bald head.
Yes, you can.
It's bald.
No, people who shave their head don't shave it once and then it remains bald forever. Is that what you thought?
No, but no, but the bald spot is going to remain bald.
It's no different than.
So you just want to try out shaving your head?
No, I might. I might shave it and be a forever bald person, but I'm talking about buzzing it first.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna go bald yet. I'm not at that point, I don't think.
You've lost like 5 hairs. If anyone is watching this on video, they're going to be like, what is he talking about?
I'd rather go too soon than too late. It's on the top. Can't really see it. Like it's on the top.
Exactly. You can't even see it.
Yeah, I know. I had this conversation with my buddy Jeremy the other day because I was like, he shaved his head a while back and he's already in the 4s, you know, he's like 41 now or something.
Oh, I wasn't sure if that was like a razor blade size.
No. Like I'm 38, so I'm not quite in my 40s yet. I feel like 40s is kind of when, you know, it happens. But
that's what I'm saying. Why not wait until it's
That's what he said.
time?
That's what he said. He's like, dude,
honestly,
you need to wait because you're never going to.
Thank God for Jeremy.
But I'm just saying there might be an episode soon where I come on and it might happen. I might get how they say, a hair up your ass.
I think it's going to happen. And you know what is really going to happen is you're like doing the slow wear on me. You bring this up about every other day. You like to bring it up around the girls because you really like being like, girls, it's like I'm losing my hair, right? Right. And then they'll be like, yeah, daddy, you're losing your hair.
I'm
When
getting
you,
them
like,
on board.
You're trying to get everyone on board.
Well,
And I think I'm going to hit a point where I'm like, just shave your head.
exactly.
Like,
And that's the move. That's what I'm trying to do. Because when
you're admittedly trying to do this.
Yeah, when I shaved my mustache, the girls freaked out. So, I'm not 100% if I'll keep the mustache. If I shave my head, the mustache might have to go.
Are you just going full Britney in 2007? Like, I'm just going to shave it all off?
I haven't decided yet. It's not, it's all up in the air. It's up in the hair right now. I am not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm preparing for this day when my hair is no longer, you know?
Okay, well.
Yeah, it's coming. It might be another year. It could be 2. We'll see.
I think all of this mental tension inside of you in regards to your hair is what's making your hair fall out.
It very well could be.
If you just don't
Yeah.
worry about it, you won't stress so much and then your hair will stay in your head.
That's possible. Yeah. I am grateful that I have as much hair as I do. Like that 100%. But I also I don't want to be like unaware and then like have a total comb over, you know?
That's not going to happen. I would tell you.
I don't know.
You don't trust me?
I don't know if I trust you on this one.
If you got a weird comb over thing happening, I'm for sure going to tell you.
You'll let it go too long.
No way.
Which brings us to our episode. You are more okay with weird things than I am.
100%, yeah. Yeah, I'm more okay
You'll
with
let me
weird.
have a weird comb over for too long. I don't want to do that. I want to just... Plus, having hair is annoying. It's like... It just is annoying, you know? I shaved my head all throughout high school, and it was fantastic. I didn't have to deal with it. And when I surf, like, just don't have to deal with...
What is happening right now? You don't want to wear pants? You don't want to have hair? Do you want to just be one with the earth?
There's a point in a man's life where he realizes that practicality is so nice.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah,
it is
like
nice.
Comfort, and I'm not for all comfort. I'm for like discomfort, but the type of discomfort I'd rather do is I'd rather sit in a cold plunge for 5 minutes a day than spend 5 minutes doing my hair now, you know? It's kind of, that's where I'm at now. So We'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. So that brings us to the episode. Yeah, we wanted to lighten it up today.
We wanted to get weird, which is not a stretch for me, really, at all. I would actually say what's fascinating about, not fascinating, I find interesting is the podcast really shows one side of me, honestly, a little bit more serious side than my jokey side. And it's the side that I've been the most reluctant to share with the world my whole life. I've always gone more the goofy side, like to a pretty extreme degree. It's a lot more easy and comfortable for me to be super weird and do weird things.
Yeah.
And not care what people think than it is for me to be vulnerable and deep and honest.
Yeah,
and you're the exact opposite.
I'm the opposite. Yeah, it's a lot more easier. It's a lot easier for me to talk about my trauma or, you know, something deep than it is to dance in front of people.
I would dance all day.
Yeah, you're a dancer.
Yeah.
When I met you, you had an Instagram account rating hot wings.
Yeah, I did.
Called Wing a Woman.
Yeah, it's currently
deactivated
because I haven't posted on it in years, but I would go to bars, restaurants, really anywhere that served hot wings, and I would eat them and I would rate them and talk about it, the wings, the experience, and it was like I found it really fun,
Yeah.
and it was just a really weird creative outlet. And I even got so weird on it. I dressed up as Guy Fieri, like full Guy Fieri outfit, and rated hot wings as Guy Fieri, which is very off brand for all of you, but it's not off brand for me as a person.
No.
It's very on brand. And I think that's a little bit of what we wanted to talk about on this episode is like, we all are very multidimensional beings, but we pick and choose the sides of ourselves that we're willing to share with the world. And the current journey I'm on is how do I share all sides of myself? How do I stop hiding any parts of me?
Well, you went full pendulum swing. You were
Yeah.
like a stand-up comic kind of personality type that was like
Yeah, when
only
you met me, I was doing stand-up, I was doing improv, and I ran a hot wing account.
Yeah. And then I found this deeper side of you, which you had shown to very few people, if any. And I was like, oh, there's some depth to this woman. Like she has pain, she has love, she has heart, and I wanted to. And then we like, I don't know, it kind of pendulum swung into this podcast of like sharing about. Well, and the podcast is mainly meant to help people.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
not just about sharing about
you're
us.
probably not going to help too many people talking about wings. I mean, maybe it'll help drop some humor in their life and lighten up their day, but it's not like we're not changing this podcast to be like totally just lighthearted. I think it's just about bringing it all, integrating it all.
Well, and that's literally what the podcast is called.
Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah.
And it's integrating all parts of yourself.
Yeah. So
And-
today's episode, we wanted to get a little weird.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And talk about it. Talk about getting weird in all of you style, you know, because it's kind of hard to get weird and while you're sitting down on this.
It's not that
Yeah.
hard to get weird, really, in anywhere you are.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting question is getting weird is a little bit harder for you. Why do you feel like getting weird is hard for you? Because, and I think before you answer that, I want to caveat it with this. I think more people can relate to you than can to me. Most people don't want to just let their freak flag fly around town.
Wait, I thought this episode was going to be about you getting weird, not me talking about how hard it is to be weird.
We're going to go wherever the flow goes.
That's fine.
We can turn it back. Well,
no.
And actually, this is an interesting thing about me. I am exceptionally talented at making conversations not about me. It's one of my strengths and weaknesses is I can spin a conversation back onto you without sharing a single thing about myself, without anyone knowing that I did it, like no one's business. And that's actually how I hid my authentic self for a very long time. Is I would just get really interested. And I generally am really interested about other people. I find humans fascinating. So I like asking people, I like learning more about others than I do sharing about myself. Ironic that I have a podcast where I share about myself, but this is actually more where I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, you've leaned into the discomfort for this podcast's sake, and I appreciate it. And I think it's beneficial for a lot of people to hear that side of you. And I mean, I somehow tapped into it, and I'm thankful I did.
Yeah, but with that said, I want to hear, why do you feel like getting weird is hard for you?
I think I have to feel real safe to get weird. Like I have to feel it's a defense mechanism from being a child. I think just being worried about being made fun of, you know? Cuz I can get pretty weird. Like I am like I'm looking at a photo right now of like the first year you met the girls, and we're in matching onesies that I bought you for your birthday, and being weird. And I'm like, I don't mind getting weird in safe environments with people that I know. It's a lot harder for me when I'm worried about getting made fun of or just self-conscious, like in an environment with a lot of people around, unless I'm just in one of those moods where I'm like full send. I don't know. You know what? It used to take a lot of alcohol. I'd get weird with alcohol, and that would help me loosen up and lower my inhibitions or not care as much. But yeah, it can be difficult I like to feel confident in the things that I'm doing. And so like take dancing as one of them. Like I'm not a huge dancer. I like to dance and I have no problem dancing around the house and being weird and dancing weird. I dance weird quite often around the house in front of the girls and it cracks them up. But I do it in like a joking way to make them laugh. And I if I was going to dance a lot, I would probably want to take like a dance class because I'd want to know like I'd want to know I'm doing a good job, And I'm like, there's this feeling of like insecurity or just like I want to be good at the thing. I hate sucking at things,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us feel that way.
Totally. So I have a hack for that. And I think it's actually just something I picked up from my dad is as long as you laugh enough at yourself, people don't care and they'll laugh with you. So I can be dancing with terrible dance moves, which I'm just going to get cocky for a minute. It doesn't happen that often because my moves are really good, but but I can get some like really weird dance moves. Or like, actually probably a better example is like I go dance in the yard like a weirdo by myself on the deck.
Yeah.
The neighbors can see. I don't think they watch.
We have one set of neighbors that can see our yard.
A set of neighbors that could be watching, and I don't care. And I just get weird out there. And my mentality is like, if they saw me, I would just wave and laugh. And there's no way they wouldn't laugh. So if you laugh first and you just don't take yourself that seriously, people will just laugh. And then you're good. It's like not even embarrassing because you made them laugh. And that's probably something wired in my brain that like, if there's like a belief in my brain is like, if you can just get people laughing, like everything's good.
Well, your dad is probably the most confident human on this planet, I would say. So that blessed you with like a natural gift to kind of not have like a shakeable, like your gift is being able to be laughed at. You could fall in the middle of a grocery store and drop, all the groceries you're holding. Like literally you could like drop ice cream all over the floor and you would just laugh.
Because it's funny.
It is funny.
It's funny. You could cry or you could laugh. Why wouldn't you laugh?
Yeah, I would say that's not like, that's not everyone though. Some people's natural biological instinct is to be embarrassed and feel shame or feel like they made a mistake. And that comes from childhood wounds, really. And this is just an area where I would say you're exceptionally blessed in. And it's actually an area that I was probably most attracted to because I knew I didn't have that. So you've rubbed off on me in so much in this way. You've helped heal my insecurities so much just by being with, because I think that happens in partnership, if you let it.
Hey friends, wanted to interrupt you really quick to let you know that if you're looking to go deeper into your healing journey or just want support, I offer coaching services for women and Dave coaches men.
So feel free to go to the link in our bio and book a call with us. We'd love to meet you. And if you're enjoying this episode, please tap that subscribe button.
And now back to the show.
I could either be jealous of you that you don't have this insecurity, and I could like try to attack it somehow, or I can accept your gift here and really question you, like ask questions and be curious about how you do it. And that's the route that I've taken, is like, how do you do that? And I mean, we've sat for hours and talked about you being weird, and I've gained so much insight, and then I've applied it to my life, and it's rubbed off on the girls too.
I just want to stop and pause for a second at the fact you just said we've sat for we've sat and talked for hours about you being weird.
Probably thousands of hours, to be honest.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, it's true, because it's an area that I was really impressed by, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, you are one of the least self-conscious people on this planet when it comes to doing weird things.
100%. But
I'm
being
the
like,
opposite.
yeah, we're polar opposite.
Yeah, I'm probably the least self-conscious human, not least, but like I'm really comfortable admitting my flaws, and I'm really comfortable talking about my trauma or my hangups, and I don't feel ashamed. Like I don't feel ashamed by my lack of desire to be weird. So this is like a polar opposite thing, and we've both been able to lean in and gain insight from each other, which has been amazing. And that's like a relationship hack, I'd say, is like learning how to appreciate the areas that your partner is skilled at and allowing it to rub off on you. But you have to be willing to admit your weakness. And we both have done that publicly.
Very publicly.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, let's see, like, what's other examples of being weird. I think like embarrassment can be a huge one. I also think this is a male thing a little bit too. I think that could be an interesting point. Like, men often struggle with dancing in public more than women. You know, if you go to like a concert or something, you're going to see women dancing. It's not weird to see a man dancing on his own, like, but he's more comfortable. Probably majority of men are more comfortable dancing with a woman and especially you don't see men dancing together that often. You know, like me and my buddy.
Yeah, but I would not actually classify dancing in the weird category. I think that's like a very human experience that like is primal to us, is like just feeling the rhythm and moving our bodies.
100%. But how many men, like if you go to a wedding, next time you go to a wedding, like a lot of the women will be dancing together even. And a lot of men may not be comfortable getting up out of the table and dancing. Your family is very comfortable. And I don't know, like the first time I met your family, jumped up on your cousin's couch and was dancing up there with my shirt off. Like, so
it was at my grandma's 90th birthday party, after party.
Yeah. So I'm not that, I think to paint the picture, I'm not that uncomfortable getting weird. You're just insanely comfortable being weird. I'm a novice compared to you. That's beautiful. It's so beautiful to watch. I just didn't have that experience growing up. So I'm having to lean in. And that's where like I'm shut down in some ways, you know?
Yeah, I would say that's probably where, as we talk about a lot on this podcast, how your childhood shapes you and your influences shape you. In my family, you were very, like, not just my immediate family, but even my extended family, you were very free to express yourself in any way that you wanted to express yourself. And everyone did so. So it was accepted. And I think your experience is a little bit more opposite, where you didn't have a lot of influences of people being weird.
Yeah.
And so actually I'm going to further that and say, so my experience was that to be like how it's wired in my brain is it's safe to be weird. Because in my childhood, it was safe to be weird. For you, it's not wired in your brain that it's safe to be weird.
Yeah,
Would you
it's
say,
some.
and I would actually say, I don't want to put that on you. Tell me if you think that's correct.
Well, no, you're right. I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I love getting weird. I just my body definitely has a protective mechanism where it kind of looks around the room and goes, "Is it safe?" You know?
Mm.
And who's in the room or where am I? And around your family, like for whatever reason, I was safe when I met them to jump up on the couch. Um, and it's just safe people and safe environment. I felt really accepted and it felt comfortable, you know? And it just is a vibe thing. It's not like a calculated, it's all subconscious. And in certain environments, I just don't feel as safe to dance or laugh or like allow that primal kind of instinct to happen, you know? And it's actually really sad. I think if you if you look at it. I mean, I always think of the movie Trolls. It's so well scripted where like the guy is gray. Like he's literally gray and can't sing. And then once he finds some healing, he ends up being able to sing again and his voice is beautiful. I mean, it's Justin Timberlake, but like what a beautiful like story for kids, you know, if you really see the psychology behind it. And I don't think everyone does.
I just have to laugh that we've got to be the only people out here that are psychoanalyzing trolls.
No, I think that the people like the writers of these movies really know what they're doing. I think they're
That could
really
be true.
aware. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because anyone that's um gone into these creative outlets has experienced healing through these, a lot of it, you know? Now, there's people who can sing that are also traumatized in other ways, so it's not a perfect science, but definitely like if you read Body Keeps the Score, one of the biggest therapeutics tools is acting and like theater. And so they'll get like traumatized people and they'll act out scenes. And in acting and playing other characters, they can start to access emotions that they themselves wouldn't normally access. It wouldn't be safe to access. But in a safe container, you can go in and so they'll have traumatized people literally go in and play roles and act out in a theater and then do a play. And I don't even know if they ever end up doing it live or not, but I can't remember in the book, but it's really remarkable how much you can like access within you if you start to work on these muscles and how much is tied to your childhood trauma. Or maybe not even trauma, just experience, you know, maybe you just never felt safe to do that. And it's just kind of, that's just kind of sad. Like for me, it's a little sad how much I was shut down in this way. I'll never forget this experience that I had in youth group growing up. We went to a camp. I was at a camp and there was a like charades game, I think, kind of something like that was going on. And I went up on stage, like I got called up and it was like a whole room of people and I had to act out something. And I'll never forget how I felt in that moment. Like I could not do it. I could not act. I was shut down in this way. And I was like, what is going on? And I never really unpacked it until I started healing. Like literally when I was in this class and they were talking about kind of how our emotions get shut down, I was like, holy crap. That experience was, I was probably like 16 and it was tied. And then I'm sure it was tied to something else previous to that. But just this awareness of like, I was shut down in this way where I didn't feel safe to like fully act out. And my brain kind of wouldn't start to connect the dots. I couldn't really think about what to do with my hands. My, you know, kind of got in fight or flight mode or
Mm.
freeze even. And I froze on stage and I couldn't do anything. And I was like, oh my
You
gosh, I
froze?
froze. Yeah. Playing charades.
That's so gnarly because
That's your
it's,
forte.
well, oh yeah, I thrive in trades, but it's actually like It's fascinating because it's more embarrassing to freeze than it is to get weird.
100%.
But there's a block there for you. It's not even a
It's
choice.
not a choice. Yeah, it's not a choice. And I was only 16, so like how could I even know? Yeah, there's been several moments in my life where I look back and I have that. But a couple years later, I mean 17, 18, 19, I was teaching Bible studies. I was teaching youth group. I was teaching college group at my church. And I'd get up in front of 20, 30 people. I remember giving my testimony on a Sunday morning in front of like hundreds of people.
Yeah, but it's not stage fright. It's weird fright.
Exactly.
It's totally different.
Weird fright.
It's weird fright.
That's a thing.
Well, it is now.
But like, and here's like my healing journey in this has been a lot with having kids, because you can't connect with your kids as a baby. Like if they're a baby, you really can't connect well to them if you're not getting weird. You can't have a conversation with a baby. You have to goo goo gaga. You have to allow yourself. So think about how many dads can't connect with a baby because they have weird fright and they don't want to be seen in this way. It's kind of almost feminine, I'd guess. Like it's a little bit, I don't know. It's just not very like a real masculine thing to do to get into your weirdness. Masculine is more like goal oriented, but embracing my feminine, embracing my emotions, embracing the weirdness with the girls I'm 1,000 times weirder today than I ever was when I was like 21, for sure. When I was 21, all I cared about was being cool and surfing, but I would actually venture to say it was self-sabotage, because I actually think being weird is more attractive.
Oh, that is the hill I would preach upon and then die upon.
Yeah.
Because I think going back almost to like our episode on authenticity, people can feel energetically if you're trying to be cool or if you're just being yourself. And the energy that comes out of you when you're just being yourself it vibrates at a frequency that is authenticity, and it feels better when you're on the receiving end and you're feeling someone's authentic energy than they're trying to be cool energy. Is almost like repelling. And I know some people are going to be like, what is she talking about with the energy? But like, think about it when you're in scenarios and you're like, go back to like on the playground at school, the cool kid. How did you feel around the cool kid versus how did you feel around the kid that was like, I'm just being me and doing me? It's like it's such an attractive energy, but I think there's a lot of people that have blocks with it because it's really vulnerable and scary to be like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and I'm weird. And because
it's risky.
Vulnerability is scary and it is risky, but that's actually where I go back to when I radically own my weirdness. I own it so much that your opinion there's no room for it in the room. And you know that's true, huh?
Yeah.
Like if you just double down on it and be like, yeah, I was doing that. Like,
but on the reverse side, I would say that like sometimes I had to learn to tell you like, hey, I'm not in the mood for your weirdness. So like you can
that's like my least favorite
this
thing
weirdness.
When you do that.
If I'm in the middle of the work, like yesterday I was working and you were trying to get weird and I was like, I'm in the middle of something. Like I'm not going to get up and dance with you right now. But I want to sometimes. It's not a no forever. It's like, give me 30 minutes or an hour. Like there's room for both, this feminine, flowy, dancey, like energy and this masculine, like get stuff done mode. And I just think, how many women out there would love for their husband to get a little weird with them? How many kids would love for their dad to get a little weird with them and like just do like weird stuff,
Yeah, there's like
it's a way to
when
entertain
you
your
guys dropped me
kids.
off at the grocery store. I forget where we were going, but I needed to pick. We were late, and I was going to run in and get something, and then you would just pick me up because we couldn't find parking for the van. We drive around in an ambulance, so sometimes it's hard to park it.
Which is a little
which
weird.
is also kind of low key one of the ways you're weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you drop me off, and then I'm waiting for you, and I don't know where you are, but I'm like, oh, it's gonna be really good if I'm just dancing so weird in front of the grocery store when they see me, and like they'll all laugh. And so I'm going for it. And like, not like good dance moves, like as weird as I can make them. Like, people are seeing this. I don't care, because if it makes my family laugh, like, that's the best feeling ever. So I'm going for it, just dancing in front of Albertsons. And then you guys come and pick me up in the van, and like, you guys weren't laughing. You were like, Shivy, the girls are like, Shivy, what are you doing?
We were laughing. You didn't know. We were laughing.
Really? What happened in the van? Because I didn't hear. I got in the van and everyone was like, have you lost your mind? But I just own it. And then I go, it was funny, huh?
Yeah.
And like, when
we were laughing at you. Like, it was funny, but it was also one of the weirdest things ever to like you were just out there on the street just dancing with like drinks in your hand, like like you looked like a crazy person. And
that's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you also have to be prepared that other people might like, what if Olive just stubbed her toe in the van, or like cut herself, and we're dealing with like, you have to be prepared that your funniness is not always going to be well received when people are dealing with like real life issues or whatever.
And I know that, and I make space for that. If there is something else going on, I can shut the funny down. But I actually would say that coming into this family, the girls didn't get my humor for the first while. Like, and that was something that over time they learned to appreciate.
You have a thing with this. They totally did.
But they don't always like
you are a little insecure in this way.
You think so?
Yeah. This is your hang up.
It is hard for me that
this is your hang up, not anybody else's.
You guys don't always laugh.
No.
I'm funny so much, and you guys don't laugh. And I'm like, I don't really understand how no one's laughing at this.
A core belief that if you're being funny, everybody else should be laughing.
Yeah, because if it's funny, how do you not laugh? Like,
no, because like,
if a joke is funny, I'm gonna laugh at it.
No, that's not true.
What?
Yeah,
that's not true.
Because if you're in the middle of your work day and you're writing something vulnerable, or you're being stretched in some way, you're on an edge. Or the dish is like, if you're overwhelmed. So if you have emotions of overwhelm, insecurity, unsafety, you also don't laugh.
Yeah, if they're really big, that's maybe true.
If I am trying to be funny with you, there's so many times where you're like, I'm not in the mood.
Oh, I was just kind of thinking that you needed to be more funny. But is it me?
Yeah, if you're not in the mood, to be funny, you're not in the mood to be funny. And I think that like that's a connecting, a way that we can connect as humans to understand like, oh, this person's in a funny mood. Let me not get mad at them. Like, let me allow them to have their space to be funny and fun while I'm acknowledging like I'm not in this mood too. And there's nothing to be ashamed of that as well, you know? And so I think like you also have some blocks around this where like you think that there's always room to be funny, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know that. And so if I'm going to be just transparent, I don't really want to work through those blocks, because I really love I love funny. I love laughing. So like, for me, I'm like, well, that's a back burner block to block through, because it's kind of mostly good.
It is, and it's not a big deal. I think the only time that it becomes, the only way that I can see that it's affecting you is that you you think when we don't laugh at you that you're not being funny. But you are being funny. We're just not in the mood to laugh.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's fair.
like, and one of us might be, and one of it, like, I would say on any given day, if you walk in the house and you're being weird, someone's going to think it's funny. One of the three of us is going to think it's funny. If I come out, like the other day, I was dancing like crazy when the show started. You and Sage started dancing with me, thought it was hilarious. Olive was mad that she couldn't see the TV.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the mood. So like you just got to allow space for people to also be in other moods, you know? And sometimes everybody jumps in and it's funny and everybody's into it, and sometimes it's not. Like that's part of relational, like family dynamics or healthy family dynamics, of allowing space for everyone to be in their own mood and not they can catch the wave, or they can decide to not catch the wave, and you're not judging them for that too, you know?
That's fair.
I think
fair.
like us allowing each one of us to be in our own funny moods and laugh when we want to laugh, or I mean, we support the girls. So if the girls are being funny, we try our best to laugh, even if we're pseudoing. We call it pseudoing, like a pseudo personality. It's okay to pseudo for your kids, you know? And I think that like that was a big part of my
pseudo laugh
healing.
at their jokes because I want to ingrain in them a belief that they're funny.
Yeah.
And I want them to practice that muscle. So I laugh at their not funny jokes.
Me too.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really good and healthy to do that, I think. And yeah, it's just like allowing space for everyone to feel their emotions and feel how they feel on any given day, and you know, move through. I don't think it's not a big deal, but I think it's funny that you thought in the beginning that we didn't get your humor. We totally did. The girls thought you were hilarious right away.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And I obviously
didn't
did
that.
too. That was one of
Yeah.
my like biggest like turn-ons for you, is like when you made me laugh really hard. I thought it was great. I mean, I definitely am more attracted to banter and humor inside of a relationship. I think it's really healthy, and that was definitely an area of attraction for me. But I want it in a healthy way where it's not like I'm not like your laughing slave, you know? Like you're funny and then all of a sudden I have to laugh.
You don't want to be
Like,
chained to my jokes?
no. I want to be able to like have moods too, or you know, get work done or get serious as well. I think it's all important. All the range of emotions. But there's so many people, and I was this way, where I was very much chained to my getting stuff done, getting work done, like kind of masculine driven mindset, and not allowing space to just laugh and play. Laughing and play is so important. So I hired a coach, and one of the reasons I hired him was because he's so comfortable being weird and laughing and playful. Super serious guy too. Super like he's very intentional with life.
Well, and I think that's really the goal, is to be able to swing the pendulum wherever the time and situation calls for it. Like there is a place to be serious, and a lot of our episodes are very serious.
Yeah.
There's a place to be playful and have fun and joke. And then I think the most beautiful art is when you can actually kind of weave those two together and be serious, but come up for air with a joke and then go back down into the depths. Like, I think the ability to weave that is
100%.
is the art of the art of beautiful conversation. I think is to do that. And I think as humans, I find most beautiful humans are multifaceted, multidimensional. And one of the ways that can show is they can be really deep, and they can be really funny and shallow, and they can intermingle that. That for me is the goal. And I think I'm personally still trying to integrate both sides of myself in that way in a public fashion. Because I can do that like at our house, where it's like a safe place, it's our home. I can very easily be serious when I need to, playful when I need to, no problem. I've found that actually showing up online in that way has been really tricky. Like, there are sides of myself that are more guarded, that I'm actively working on trying to be less guarded. And even now I'm like, well, I had this wing account, so I have done the playful online, but how do I blend both of those things into how I share myself online? Because I don't want to, I want to actually be my fully expressed self everywhere I am. That's kind of the mission I'm currently on, is to no longer hide parts of myself, to be all of me. Literally, like the name of the podcast. I want to be able to show people it's safe to be all sides of themselves and accepted for that, and feel that I can be. And I'm getting better, I think, at doing that in person. I'm still trying to figure out that online. And I think why it's easier for me to do in person is you can read the room and flow with the energy in the room. And you can read the reactions of people, whether they're like, oh no, like this is going too deep, or like, oh, you're being too goofy for this situation. And I can do that dance in person, scale it back, go full throttle. Online, you're just like sending who you are out into the abyss without knowing what it's going to feel like on the other end for people. And maybe not even feel like what their perception's going to be and how they'll respond to it. And I'm probably trying to control my narrative still, is really what it comes down to, is like, well, I don't want this to be perceived wrong. And when I'm in person, I can read how you're perceiving it. But when I just post it, I can't. And then I'm like uncomfortable with like, oh no, is this going to offend someone? Is this too weird? I actually think in person, I don't fear being too weird. Online, I have a little bit more fears around
Because you don't have the
being too weird.
validation of the laughter
Yeah,
necessarily.
maybe that's the block.
Yeah.
I crave the laughter because that tells me like, oh, okay, it was accepted.
Yeah, and that's like how you said, like, we didn't get your jokes in the beginning. We did. It just, when we didn't laugh at times, so it's the same thing. If you walk in the house and do something really weird and walk in with a certain energy, you have to be okay if all three of us are not in the mode to receive your weirdness at the moment. You
Yeah,
know,
it's the
you and
worst.
the
I know I have to accept it,
and
but
online it's the same
yeah.
thing, and you won't even know. Like, the only way you know is based off likes and comments, basically. And you just got to let go of that validation. Like, you're not doing it to, I mean, you're doing it to help others. You're putting yourself out there into the world online, and you are letting go of whether it resonates or not. You just don't know. You could put out the most vulnerable post of all time, and all your friends or people who follow you are in a funny mode. So they're not in the mood for your vulnerable post at that moment. They want some kind of meme in that given moment, right? So that's the tricky part with online, because you're just like throwing it out there, and it may resonate with someone one day, and the next at a different time it doesn't resonate with them. And like, that's just it, you don't. But as we start to move energetically and become, more resilient and more comfortable with all sides of ourselves, you then become someone who can flip flop a lot faster and easier through your emotions. So, like, if you send me a super vulnerable post and it resonates, the next thing I look at could be a funny meme, and I can laugh and move through these energies, right? And that's the beautiful part of the human experience, is that we're moving through all these emotions constantly throughout the day and getting comfortable moving through it. But yeah, we have to be able to face rejection, and also just let go of other people's perceptions. in order to be weird. I mean, that's kind of like what we started with me. Like, I have to feel safe in an environment that I'm not going to get made fun of, or people aren't going to think I'm weird. It's like, why? Let them,
Mm-hmm.
and just do me. And I've definitely grown in this area so far. Like, the distance traveled for me is remarkable, from when I was 16 to now. I can laugh at myself so much better. I can like do different weird things, but I'm still always working on it, and I probably always will be. And you're working on sharing the more vulnerable parts of you and not needing them to laugh to get that validation. I mean, you had your dad's laugh as the validation growing up, which was the biggest laugh in the world.
And he thinks everything's funny.
Yeah. So, like, I think I'm a stand-up comedian when I'm around your dad. Like, because his laugh is so big and so validating. It's an amazing gift that he has that you just, like, if you get him, you feel like you just are on top of the world, And he's easy to get if you want to do a fart joke or something. So
he's pretty easy to get with like pretty much any joke.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so you had that growing up, you had that support in that way. And so now, you're dealing with people in the world when you put stuff out that may not get your jokes or may not resonate, and you just got to risk it.
Mm-hmm.
Exploring this and just like showing it. That's the most attractive thing, is people who show up in the world as they are, but not to the point of lack of awareness. There's a balance to it.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Because I think there's a way to take a joke too far. And I think sometimes when you're overly trying, it can come from a place of insecurity, where it's like someone just wants to be seen and they want attention and they're craving that.
Yeah, don't walk into a funeral dancing, It's not the right time or place. Like, know your audience, know the place. But yeah, it's this blend of that. And I would say me and you are on a little bit two sides of the spectrum, where I'm probably more reserved and reading the room and the vibe a little bit more. And I won't come out of my shell unless it's really safe and comfortable. You are a little bit more willing to risk it and come out of your shell and get the party started and lead in that weirdness. And I think it's beautiful. I think there's room for both,
Mm-hmm.
But anyone that isn't weird or has discomfort being weird, like I definitely encourage people to lean into that weirdness, because it is a beautiful thing. And life is just better when you're laughing.
Yeah. It's a way to express yourself. I think humor is an art form. I think people like who can make others laugh, like it requires creativity. It requires putting yourself out there. And I think it is actually a beautiful form of art. Stand-up comedians, that is art to be able to do that.
Yeah, like I would say off camera, off mic, our conversations are generally humorous. Like we're consistently trying to make each other laugh throughout the day, or like especially in the evenings when we're tired. Laughter is a big part of like our evenings. So I like to rhyme a lot. That's kind of my way.
I think you should rhyme on here a little bit more often. I think that's what the podcast
that
is
might
missing.
Take some work. Yeah. So like I'll come up with like a song or like rhyme, and then you're really good at mashups and like singing, like you're singing a song but you're saying other words. I don't mash up as much as I just rhyme weird, like come up with weird like raps or rhymes. Especially around the girls. What other ways are we weird?
Wait, can you sing your latest hit that you've been singing around the house?
Do it.
It's so good.
It might not be funny though.
It's pretty funny.
So like the other day we were just I think we hit one of my wounds, and I was like kind of maybe I got triggered or something, and then we'll go into this like little like 5-minute container and kind of explore it, and you'll give me space to explore it. And I think we found one of my like I was able to find a memory or something it was tied to, and that's to me that's healing. Like when I can find out like, oh, I'm like this because of the environment I was shaped in, or this old wound that occurred. And so like 5 minutes later, we're like, you're brushing your teeth, and I walk in and I go, healing that childhood trauma that you got from your daddy and your mama. And like it was like just basically like our trauma a lot of times just occurs from the environments we're shaped in, for better or worse. So yeah, it was funny.
And a beautiful example of like you can go down low and then you can come back up with a little humor.
Yeah, and I think I went on, and like this song got even more wild and weird as I went. Like I was just winging it and freestyling. But those moments are so important. Like banter is so valuable.
Well, and I think it's also like, again, a temperature gauge. Some of the episodes when we are talking about trauma, it is hard to crack a joke, or it can feel insensitive to crack a joke.
Yeah.
And so it's timing.
But we might start doing it more.
Yeah, who knows?
Do you have any life hacks?
Yeah, I have like the most ridiculous, like middle-aged mom life hack of sorts to share. But I got these soup cubes that when you make soup, you can pour it into these cubes, and it like perfectly puts one serving into it. And then you put it in the freezer and you freeze it so that you always have soup on hand. And I'm weirdly excited about them. You can get them on Amazon. Super Brand is actually the brand, and the owners lost their house in the LA wildfires. So really, really good company to support, and a brilliant idea, because every time I have leftover soup, I can just freeze it and then we just have it when we want it. Or if you like want to make soup for people to give it to them if they're going through something, you just make it, freeze it, give it to them. Yeah, it's a really weird hack, but something I'm just very jazzed about at this stage of my life.
I think I already did a book one time, but whatever. That's a lot of what I do these days is read. So I just started reading the book Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and it is fantastic for like everything we were just talking about with letting others have their perceptions, like showing up in the world as you want to. So it's like let them and then let me show up how I want to. And just really easy read, and like a lot of stories. She's very vulnerable in it about her kids, about her life. And yeah, it's such a good book to allow yourself permission to do the things that you need to do and want to do, and let others react how they're going to react. Can't control others' reactions. So let them theory.
Yeah, and I'm going to also vouch for that book, but say that I started reading it first, and then
I bought it.
You did, but I started reading it first, and then you took it back and you were like, here, this book is really what you need, and I'll read Let Them. And all of a sudden, I'm no longer reading it, and you're reading it.
You agreed to this exchange.
I did. I did. But I'm a little jealous because I've been wanting to read that book. It's gotten incredible reviews, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a well-written book, and really fun read. And practicing it is much harder than reading it, but definitely a great skill to practice. We're gonna start possibly having guests on here.
Yeah.
So some of the next episodes might have some guests. We'll see. Yeah, what days they come on, but we got BC coming on, which is a mentor of mine, and Tanner which is our brother-in-law, and he's a writer. And yeah, we're gonna start bringing on some more people.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll end with, if you enjoyed this episode, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe, leave a comment, like it, or share it with a friend that you think might also benefit.
Love ya.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.